chairs are just sitting on right now.
Hello, everyone. We have a bit of a special one today. There's a discussion that I had with Eve earlier today where we speculate a bit about MSTR earnings and what's next over the next few quarters for the company, and a lot of potential bullish catalysts at the line. And we thought we would share that one with you here, a bit of a different format than we're used to. But let's see, and let us know if you like that type of content as well. Drop your comments below, or let us know on X. Of course, none of what you will hear is financial advice, and this conversation is for educational and entertainment purposes only. See you later. Let's talk about some speculation going into earnings for MSTR and what might happen afterwards, because we've seen some interesting information come out of the brokerage platforms and on Bloomberg in terms of the earnings expectations or EPS estimates for strategy that are basically completely off, and we know that because Strategy already announced their BTC gains for quarter two. We've talked about it in prior episodes, around 14 billion in gains, which would translate into probably around 11-12 billion in profit, which translates around $40 earnings per share for quarter two alone. This would be, if you extrapolate for the year, it would be $160 EPS for the year. But for quarter two specifically, $40. And the expected, or the analyst consensus EPS is 0.9 cents.
Loss of minus 0.9 cents, that's
minus
right.
0.9 cents versus actuals around $40 positive.
Exactly.
So, yeah, the question is what is priced in and what isn't, right?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So here we have a difference of $40 per share, which is tremendous. And over the weekend, I was having a bit of fun and doing some ChatGPT questionnaire type of thing. And I asked basically ChatGPT if, or just the AI tools as well, because I did it on Grok as well, is whether they were aware that there's a $40 gain per share, right? And I prompted a couple of things to see, and apparently it's not. They still work with the estimates from the brokerage accounts, right? With these analyst estimates. And that just led me to start thinking, if the AIs don't know, there's a lot of people that don't know, right? Obviously. And again, I asked them if this was priced in, and according to the AIs, it's not. So I got a little bit of FOMO here on this. And another thing is, I've been asking a bit around, right? Some friends, and obviously I also looked on YouTube, and I found a video on MSTR, which takes technical analysis, exactly estimates, and all of this. And there was no mention of these 14 billion earnings, and that just blew my mind, because that's a huge part if you're looking at what's coming at the end of July. So all of this kind of got me a bit hyped, because I was like, I don't think a lot of people see it, and I'm not sure that's priced in.
Yeah, I have no idea if it's priced in or not. If you look at historically, right, up until last year, the Bitcoin gains or losses were not recorded at the earnings because of the fair value accounting that was just implemented this year. But they already did implement this new accounting rule for the Q1 earnings, right? And there it was also a surprise, but it was to the downside. I think there it was also the earnings per share estimate was around zero, was slightly negative, but also like it is now, and the actual was like minus $12 at the time because we had a huge loss in Bitcoin from December 31st to March 31st, right? And that was a negative surprise to the downside, but the stock didn't really move that much around earnings. So that was already priced in that it would be a lot worse than an analyst's estimate. But I think the big difference is that people owning the share, they know the story and they are most likely informed. It was not a surprise for any MSTR holders that there would be a miss in Q1. It's just they didn't sell it when the news came out because it didn't freak them out. They knew it was going to be negative for Q1. Now, I don't know for Q2, the other way around. I mean, everybody holding the stock knows that it's going to be positive. Maybe it might trigger some traders, analysts, but maybe also just the bots or algos that use certain rules for trading to run into the stock after this huge beat, right? Because they're not owning it, so they don't know anything about it. They just see a huge beat and then they plow into the stock after earnings are released. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly my thoughts, right? When I saw this, because the pretty interesting, or the thing that just kind of blew my mind is that the AIs were telling me that something like this has never been seen, a beat of over $30 per share, so a difference considering the estimates, right? And so that would be a first in history to have a beat of $40 per share difference compared to the estimates, right? And that just kind of, that's where I got a bit struck and yeah, surprised, actually, very surprised.
Yeah. And I think some people will be surprised if you don't follow the story. How would you know when all the analysts are projecting negative EPS? It's just maybe the counter argument would be that the earnings, because it's strategy and the way those earnings are coming together, which is basically just Bitcoin appreciation, that it's not seen as real gains. And
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it will need a few quarters in a row of BTC gains like that to show that it has a long-term value. But it's true. It didn't have a negative impact, and the loss was huge in numbers. It was billions of loss in Q1, and the stock didn't move. So why would it move the other way?
Yeah, it was 85,000 something percent miss.
Yeah,
that was tremendous. And but the other thing that got me thinking is exactly these algos are trading based on the data that they have right now, but they're still working on a legacy financial system, right? They're still not considering the whole Bitcoin story behind it. And that's what triggered me, or I was thinking, wait, if the AI is still thinking in legacy financial terms, most likely these algos are also trading like this. And again, that's where I think there might be something that might trigger on the specific day where they announce the earnings. Some, obviously it's going to be speculation, but there might be some people plowing in, and yeah, we'll see.
It could be the perfect storm if this gives upside momentum to the stock. Strategy we've seen those last weeks, they hit the ATM on the common stock hard when MSTR rallies, plow it right into Bitcoin again. Bitcoin is now broke out, so there's not really any technical levels, or it's basically price discovery we're in now, and we cleared the 100,000 region, which is very psychological with a lot of selling there. So all of this combined could really push Bitcoin higher and allow strategy to purchase Bitcoin on the way up and pushing it even higher. And this would reinforce the stock again. It would increase their credit worthiness on all the preferreds. The preferreds will have a lot more demand, will get less risky. They will have to pay less dividends on them and be able to issue more and buy more Bitcoin. And this really could become reflexive here over the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, I was going to say in the longer term, it's going to be reflexive anyway. So that's going to happen. What will be more interesting to see again is like now on the short term, right? When this happens, obviously, we might see a situation where we were in I think around November, December, right? Where Bitcoin started taking a leg up and MSTR as well. And they also started buying, that's where they started buying their huge amounts, right? I mean,
they were buying 50,000 a week.
Yeah, that's the
at that
thing,
time.
right? If that happens again, they might start increasing their buys, and then we might see the next leg up very soon, right? But yeah, again, it really depends on how people trade this when they see these earnings, and if it's not on this one, after a couple of ones, this will catch up, and that's where it's going to be just grinding up very, very quickly.
Yeah, and then you add the potential front running of S&P 500 inclusion into the mix. You add Q3 earnings that if really things go up and Bitcoin goes up a lot, they will have a monster Q3 earnings as well. S&P 500 inclusion. Then the question is, at some point, will their preferreds get a credit rating?
Yeah.
And then, I don't know.
Then that's just opening the floodgates, and then after that, it's this S curve type of adoption that we have from Bitcoin, right? I think, and I think strategy is the one leading this adoption. They're basically the whole front battalion, just opening all the gates, right? So that's going to be yeah. I think the next 6 months are going to be quite impressive if you're sitting on the right side of history, if I may say that way.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's really difficult not to be bullish, and I'm trying to steelman this or to give the counter argument, because at the same time, if you look at the Bitcoin chart, you compare this bull market to 2021. It looks kind of toppy if you talk to some or if you listen to some of the OG Bitcoiners and on-chain analysts. They see all-time high but very low volume on Bitcoin, which usually is a top signal. And yeah, I mean, it could very well be a top just from a market structure perspective, or the fact that we didn't double from previous all-time highs, but we are quite high if you look at the chart alone. And we are historically, we're in the year where we have this run up. But then next year should be a deep bear market if history repeats, and if the previous cycles repeat, we'll have a 70-80% drawdown now in the next year, right? And it's just those two thoughts colliding, and I don't know. I'm on the bullish side because I really don't see that happening with the way I think strategy specifically. But the treasury companies and ETFs in general, they're just too big now to create such a big unwind or bear market. And as we discussed a lot of times, we don't have any margin call risks. It's not like 21 with FTX collapse and forced liquidations and paper Bitcoin being issued. I mean, those are audited companies, and their books are clean, and we know they don't have to sell, and we know that most likely they will never sell if the management stays in place. So it's difficult to go with the bear case here.
Yeah, right now it's absolutely difficult. Although also I try to get reminded of the previous cycles and so on. But exactly when you hear all these news, and again, as you mentioned, right, the the Bitcoin that are sitting with strategy specifically, for me, these are the ones that are sealed because they've been through a bear market. They have those preferreds that are now perpetual. The converts that they would potentially have to repay are only due in 28, the earliest. So the Bitcoin that they have is essentially sealed. They're not going back into the market. And any other Bitcoin treasury that comes after that, they're an order of magnitude less than strategy. So even if one of them goes bust, it's nothing.
Yeah,
compared to
and that's
strategies.
really important to understand. That's a great point because we see also a lot of comments at those Bitcoin treasury companies. There's so many popping up, and it's the market's frothy, and it's just a bubble. And even if that's true, those companies are tiny. The ones that are levered, the ones with the 20x MNAV, or 10x MNAV, I mean, they have a few thousand Bitcoin. The bigger ones have maybe 10, 20,000, but that's what strategy buys in a month. And probably it would be something that strategy would acquire if those companies get into trouble, right? Or maybe they do go bust, they have to sell their Bitcoin. But again, you mentioned there's a whale just sold 80,000 Bitcoin last week, and the price didn't move. So if all companies except strategy would sell, I don't know if that would have a big impact or not right now. So
we have blue skies ahead of us, I think, in general. And
but what could go wrong? I don't know.
Custody risk, probably something like it's a tail. The what can go wrong are tail risks, in my opinion, right now. I don't see any big risks as of today, at least. All right, I think we can close it here, and
How many chairs are you sitting on right now?